Hello and welcome back to another video. So today we're on a bit of a landscape photography and wildlife photography adventure, and I've got a very special lens with me today. This is the omsystem 150 to 400 f4.5, which omsystem have kindly loaned me for today's video. So a big thank you to them for making this video possible. Now, this lens has been on my radar ever since it was released, and I'm really looking forward to trying it out today and getting a bit more familiar with it, shall we say. It's a lens I would love to own one day. Now, I think for micro four thirds shooters, this is probably one of the best wildlife photography lenses ever made. So it's just started to rain, so the rain jacket is on, but I think why I'm so interested in this lens in particular is because I own the smaller sibling, the 50 to 200 f2.8, and that's been my probably most favourite lens of all time. It's a lens I've used a lot throughout the last year and I absolutely love it to bits. It's so versatile and it's great for shooting a number of different things. So I'm really interested to see how these two lenses perform today out here at this incredible location. Absolutely fantastic, this place. Yeah, and it'd be interesting, I think, to see when I introduce the 2x converter to the 50 to 200, how that then compares to the 150 to 400, how the image quality and the performance, how it compares by adding that 2x converter, because we're getting up into a similar kind of focal range then. But yeah, this place is incredible. This particular outcrop of rock is called Needle Rock, and it's full of razorbills this time of year. And if we're really lucky, we may even spot some chicks, fingers crossed, because we're getting into that time of year. And then a bit later on, we're going to head all the way around this headland in search of some landscape photography as well. Yeah, conditions are changing. It's quite moody at the minute. Every now and again, we get a bit of light and of course a rain shower. But I think it's probably a great day to be out with the camera, so I'm really looking forward to it. Right, let's get into the photography. So I think it'd be rude not to put the 150 to 400 on and see if we can get nice and close into some of these birds that are nesting on the rocks. So yeah, I think that's the first port of call, shall we say. So the 150 to 400 lens has got a built-in 1.25x converter, and I was using that a lot down there shooting the razorbill, and it was fantastic. It just gave me a little bit more reach. Now, these are micro four thirds lenses, and this is obviously the OM1 Mark II, which is a micro four thirds camera. So whenever I'm talking about focal length here, if we want to compare that with a full frame equivalency, we need to times it by 2. So this goes up to 400 millimeters, so therefore that is 800 millimeters. So this with the 1.25x converter on will give you 1,000 millimeters of focal length if you compare that to full frame, so a whopping focal length. Now, this is a much smaller lens and it's 50 to 200, and I've got the 2x converter on there, which makes this a 400 millimeter lens. So again, times that by 2 if you want your full frame equivalency, and you get 800 millimeters. When I put the 2x converter on this, my minimum aperture goes from f2.8 to f5.6, so you lose a little bit of depth of field and a little bit of light in terms of your aperture, but you still get good reach, and the quality is really, really good with this 2x converter. I'm just going to take a couple of shots here. I've just taken a couple with this at 400 millimeters. I'm going to do the same here, and then we'll compare the two images and we can take a look at the differences. Now, this, of course, isn't a scientific test, and if I'm honest, that's never really been my thing. What I'm much more interested in is how these lenses actually perform out here in the real world. How do they feel to use? What sort of images can they create? And ultimately, which one would I rather have with me when I'm out enjoying a day of photography? So the first shot is with the 150 to 400 at 400 millimeters, and the second is with the 50 to 200 with the 2x converter on, so the same focal length. The settings are slightly different due to the minimum aperture, but I wanted to see what this would look like. And as you can see, the 150-400 does resolve a little bit more detail, but it's a pretty close comparison at this distance, which really does highlight what a versatile lens the 50-200 really is. So I've packed the big white away and I've got the 50-200 on, which is kind of my opportunistic wildlife lens. After walking for a bit, I found these herring gulls, which were swooping along the edges of the cliffs here, and I managed to get a couple of shots which I think are really nice as they were gliding through the air. I was using the 2x converter on the 50-200 fully zoomed in at 200mm, so that gives you a full frame equivalency of 800mm at f5.6, and the bird detection was keeping up really well and I was getting some really sharp results. What an amazing day. So when I'm walking around, I've got my 50-200 or maybe the 150-400 on the OM1 Mark II. I'm really looking for, just essentially any kind of wildlife that might come my way. And I've got my settings dialed into one of the custom slots here. So in fact, I've got 3 different types of settings. I've got my landscape photography settings, which are on C1. I've got my static birds, if you will, on C2, and then I've got birds in flight on C3, so I can quickly interchange between them. So if I want to take a landscape shot, just quickly change the dial and I'm ready to shoot. Typically that's my aperture at about f5.6. My shutter speed is starting at around 1/100th of a second, just as a base exposure. Obviously base ISO, everything in manual. When I'm shooting wildlife, it's manual but with auto ISO. Typically for static birds, I'm around about 1,000th of a second to start with. And for birds in flight, I'm about 2,500th of a second. So this just allows me to quickly interchange between those settings as and when I need to, so I can react quickly should something amazing happen. Now this viewpoint up here is absolutely incredible, and I think I want to set up a landscape photography shot just here, looking down the coast, actually back to where we were just shooting, Needle Rock. Yeah, I think it's a wonderful vantage point. So hopefully we can get a nice shot here, and the sky is proper moody as well. So yeah, I think I might put the 12-40 f2.8 on, see if we can get set up for a shot here. So I have the 12-40 f2.8 on. The hat is flipped around backwards and I'm using the graduated live ND to really add some mood and drama to that sky. So the OM1 Mark II has quite a few computational features such as live NDs and live graduated NDs. You can select what strength you want to apply, and it allows you to slow your shutter speed down or darken parts of the image, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm dragging this live graduated ND filter over the sky, and that's really enhancing the mood of this image. In my foreground I've got this rocky path which bends around to the right, and then you can just see the path meander off into the distance towards those moody clouds. So let's go ahead, take this one, and then we'll move on and see if we can find something else. What an absolutely incredible spot. 360-degree views all the way around me here. Just absolutely incredible. Now, I always forget to say where I am in these videos, don't I? But we're in the very northwestern tip of Pembrokeshire today. We've got Newport Sands over that way. We've got the town of Fishguard over my right shoulder. And that is probably the direction we're going to be shooting in just a second, because I found a nice little crop of rocks down there with some really twisted gorse bushes in the foreground, which I think might work really well for another sort of moody, dramatic shot. Anyway, let's crack on. Oh my days, it's so windy here. I'm trying to shield the microphone, so I do apologise if there's some wind noise there, but we'll do our best. And yeah, I've got some really cool foreground interest here. This old dead bracken, some gorse that's died off. It's really twisted and jaggy and gnarly, which makes a really good foreground, I think. And yeah, the sky is proper moody. We've got some dappled light on the horizon there, but looking back towards Fishguard, and I think it makes a really nice shot. Now, I've got the live graduated ND on, and I've gone for strength 4 with a soft graduation. I'm just dragging that down over the sky just to darken it, just to accentuate the mood and help to balance the exposure, because it's very bright up there, and I would probably need to bracket this shot if I don't choose to use the live graduated ND. So I can get it all in one shot, which is really nice. It does show a little bit of movement in the tops of the grasses, but I actually quite like that because I think it really tells the story of what's happening up here. You know, it is proper blustery, and I love conditions like this, especially when we've got really dramatic light and skies. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Anyway, I'm just gonna move up there, take the shot, because I'm sheltering a little bit here. Just up there, it's 10 times as windy. Right, let's drag that graduated filter over the sky. Fantastic. And focus on my foreground just down here and take the shot. Flipping heck, I'm blowing over. So I do really enjoy using the computational features that are built into the OM1 Mark II. I think they're fantastic, especially when you've got moody skies. You know, just dragging that live ND down over the sky just really helps to bring out the detail and the contrast of the clouds. So I think it's fantastic, it really is. And I also like using the live ND filters as well. That's great for obviously moving water or anything really that's moving in your scene. You want to show that motion, that movement. Maybe we'll take a look at that in a bit. I think there's a beach a bit further down, so yeah, maybe we can experiment down there in just a second. But I think I need to get out the wind because I've had enough of it now. So as I was walking down this path here, I just happened to glance over to my right and noticed the shipwreck off in the distance there. And it looks to be fairly recent. I mean, I've no idea, but it's still got its mast, which yeah, suggests it's fairly recent. Anyway, hopefully nobody was injured. Hopefully everybody got out okay. Yeah, it's never good to see, is it? Right, not much further now to the beach. So we have made it to the beach, and it started to rain. Now it did forecast heavy rain actually through the later part of the evening. It's about 6:30 now, so yeah, true to the forecast. But I found some really spiky looking rocks just over here, so I'm just going to make my way over this reef slab just here, being very, very careful not to slip over. That wouldn't be good. And hopefully we can make a shot before the heavy rain comes. Yeah, it looks pretty good just over there, I think. So I wasn't quite expecting it to be this good. These rocks are really dramatic. It's just whether I have enough time to make an image, because if I show you across my right shoulder there, I'll just spin you around. I don't have a lot of room to get back around to the beach, and the tide is coming in. So yes, I might just see if I can get down here and make a shot quickly. As you can see, that was pretty close. I had to hop along the rocks here. It's coming so fast. So just a quick few thoughts on these two white lenses before I sign off. So yeah, I think they are both absolutely superb, to be honest. They complement each other really well, but they're also more than capable of standing on their own as well. You know, for me, the 50 to 200 suits a much more versatile, opportunistic way of shooting, if you will. It's kind of the lens that works across multiple genres, whether that's landscapes, wildlife details or just those kind of unexpected moments you come across while you're out exploring, a bit like what we've been doing today. The 150 to 400 on the other hand feels much more like a specialist tool. So if I was heading out specifically to shoot wildlife, with that being my main focus for the day, this is undoubtedly the lens I'd want to have with me. You know, the reach it offers is absolutely incredible, and it gives you access to shots that simply aren't possible with most other lenses. There really isn't really a loser here. Both lenses are absolutely fantastic in their own right, and both pair beautifully with the OM1 Mark II as well. So spending time with the 150 to 400 has really reinforced what I already suspected. At some point in the future, I would absolutely love to own this and absolutely love to add it to my kit, yeah. And to be honest, I don't really want to hand it back, but I have to. Anyway, as always, you'll find links down in the video description to all of the gear that I've used in this video, workshops, ebooks, and a few other bits and pieces as well. And if you enjoyed this video, there's another one up here somewhere that's been recommended to you by the YouTube algorithm. Yeah, apparently it's quite good at figuring out what you guys enjoy watching. So hopefully it's picked a good one. Let me know if it gets it right. Anyway, a big thank you to omsystem as well for collaborating with me on this week's video and giving me the opportunity to shoot with this 150 to 400 lens, which is absolutely incredible. And of course, a huge thank you to you for watching. I really do appreciate your time and support as always. So I really hope you enjoyed coming along on this little photography adventure, and I really do hope to see you again next week. Take care.